trying to share it. Y'all already know how we do. Y'all come on up in here and sit on down, honey. We finna go and get this thing started. We gonna share the live. And if you are in here, make sure you drop something in the comments and make sure you share the live. Y'all let us know that y'all are in here. So let's go ahead and do our little accolades and all that. And then we're gonna go get started. Because I know y'all wonder who this lady is sitting in between us. I know she look familiar to y'all. I know y'all know her now. So I'm gonna share the link.
Not the computer, because y'all say that a lot. I was watching y'all. I was trying to count how many times y'all say not the.
Or it's the, for me, yeah. We got our own little like phrases and something. Yeah, that's.
So I just said I'm gonna come in hot. You know,
you know, the laptop. It's the laptop for me, not the laptop.
I love the research.
Right on the outswing, it's just ghetto, honey. It's just ghetto. Let's see, Tiffy, y'all see the live. I'm trying to get this Wi-Fi together. Are you still connected from last time?
Okay, so here go another one. Not the audience for me.
Yes. Y'all, we got an audience today. Yes. Audience, make some noise back there. Y'all better make it seem like it's 10 people sitting over there. So, y'all, look, we trying to go ahead and get it shared. Sydney, you may have to share it from my page.
Okay.
So, it'll actually go ahead and send it on now because for some reason I can't send it in Messenger either.
And don't y'all get on here acting shy. Y'all know how we do.
Yes.
Come on in here, sit down.
Yep.
Comment when you're here. Let us know you in the building.
Because the way she got it.
Okay.
The way she got it.
Y'all can.
That way we can fit everybody up in the,
you
know, in the view. Okay.
Oh yeah, Facebook real funny. I forgot.
Yeah.
And I turned my screen sideways. I made it where it's not poetry. It's landscape.
They don't care. They don't care about your life.
They just.
Now, why is it that when you share it, Sydney, it's showing from your page, and then when I share it, there it is.
Look at you.
Because you know what? Facebook do me so dirty. They do me like this all the time. I say the same thing every time we go live. It never acts right for me.
For the audience, I just want to let you know how important this is. This is a marketing thing. Like, you need to share it so people can see it. We can engage, okay? So this beginning part right now, let me explain to you what's happening.
Yay.
Come on, get us right on together.
Spreading awareness. You understand what I'm saying?
We are here for it.
To come on in the room.
Not her knowing the theme song. Not her gonna leave the theme song. Okay, I ain't gonna do it. I ain't gonna do you like that.
Tell your people. Tell your cousin. Okay. Nobody goes out in the cold in the South, so we know you at home.
Right.
So go tap on in, y'all.
Tap on in. Go grab your little drink. We do.
Speaking of drink.
Ooh,
So,
yeah.
as y'all can see, we got a nice little old variety of ghettoism going on right here. Yeah, so we got a little wine. We got a little sweet water. Y'all know that's one of our favorites. And our lovely guest, who I'm going to introduce in a minute, brought something. Do you mind telling us what it is that you have right there?
Yeah. So I brought the Old Faithful Crown.
Come on.
I think most of you recognize this bag from your drawer. It has coins, change, lint, dirt,
good old money stash,
a few hairpins.
It got to have them bobby pins up in there, or a safety pin, or push pin, something
bobby
like that.
Pins. Okay.
It got to have. It ain't legit
for sure.
And it got the little crumbs and little dirt at the bottom. Because you done had it a long time. It was your daddy's. He passed it down to you.
If it ain't in the shoebox in the back of the car,
you know, in the shoebox, exactly. You know.
So if you didn't grow up in the black household, you don't know what we're talking about.
Like us.
This is Crown, okay? This is Crown Round, peach crown, which is why it's this color, okay? This right here is Rivulay. So in honor of Black History Month, and every day is Black History Month for me because I'm black.
Amen.
369, 365, 367, 340. I am 420. Okay, no, I'm just kidding.
Everybody. Whatever your
Hey.
This is Rivulay, which is a company that I actually partnered with. I started partnering with them over during COVID. Actually, is when I first connected to them. And I run an open mic. We'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah.
But in the open mic, they first started out as sponsors for the open mic that we were doing because we went from meeting in person during COVID, of course, to going virtual. And at that point, everybody was looking to figure out how to reach audiences. And so I connected with this liquor company, and they were sponsoring some of our shows that we were doing virtually. And it's a black-owned liquor company out of St. Louis, Missouri, and it's called Rivulé. It is a pecan-infused liqueur.
Yeah,
Okay.
Pecan-infused,
you know what I'm saying? And it's available in not the pecan.
Not the pecan.
Yes, the pecan. Every time you say not, I'm gonna be like, yes.
Yeah, it is.
First of all, yes.
It is.
It is that.
And we're going to take a shot of it in a minute, y'all. You know,
they have never had it.
never had it.
And it's really smooth. It's really good. You can, you can sip it neat straight up, or you put it on the rocks, or you can mix it. I've mixed it with a few things. And I think my favorite thing to mix it with is ginger beer. And it's really good. So
ginger beer. So, y'all, let's go hop into this thing. Cindy, you want to hit us with the theme song before we, we got to usher the people into the
Why
spirit.
you gotta put me on the I tell you this every time.
Come on, Sydney. And you do this every time. Stop acting like you don't know what time it is. Come on, Sydney. It's a theme song.
Yeah.
I think you may know it. I think you may have heard it before. It may be familiar. Oh, you got it's the clap.
Hey,
Yeah,
come on in the room.
Sister.
Yep, I was off beat. There we go.
Act like you grew up in a Baptist church. Come on.
Come on in the room.
Yes.
Come on in the room. Come on, Mika.
You started it so high.
Well, come on now, sis. I'm not a mute. I'm not into
Shout out to Sydney for the theme song, y'all. Let's give it up for her. She took it all the way to glory, and there was no way that I could come in and assist. But y'all, come on up in here like we always tell y'all to do it. Sit on down. Make sure y'all share, y'all like, y'all comment, subscribe. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Y'all, I want to introduce to you all today Miss Maranda Joiner. Y'all clap it up for her. We got to give it up for her. Yes, y'all.
Yes.
This lovely young lady that is sitting beside me, she is amazing in like so many ways, y'all. And I'm sure she looks familiar. I'm sure her voice sounds familiar to you as well. So I'm going to let her, since I kind of semi-introduced her, I'm going to let her, go ahead and introduce herself. And then we're going to get on in this thing and dive in and ask some questions and just do our thing.
let's go. Okay, so introduction. I'm loaded. So my name is Maranda Joiner. A lot of people around the city over in the past kind of remember me as Miranda J. From the radio station. So I worked at 99 Jams WJMI. For my gosh, I'm about to age myself. So almost about 15 years, believe it or not, off and on at the radio station. And I am now a brand strategist, full-time entrepreneur. And I help entrepreneurs, business owners, and creatives basically to identify their unique brand voice and connect to their audience so they can make more money. I help them with social media. I help them feel less overwhelmed about branding and business development. And I do that in a number of ways. I do one-on-ones. I do group coaching. I have this book that they have propped up here and pulled out of my bag.
Yay! Because when you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. Right. You're like, girl, you got a book, and she pulled it right on out the bag. That's what.
And so I do speaking engagements. So I'm a first-time author. So shout out to all the authors out there and you ladies for highlighting that. And y'all stop there.
Okay, well, let me go ahead and pour a little wine.
Okay,
yeah. All right. Because we're going to go ahead and get the running our mouths. And y'all know the wine makes us just, talk. Excuse me, I'm going to, if you don't mind.
Hey, risky girl, you got your wine.
Look, if y'all coming on in with y'all wine, y'all know what we come up with.
What you got tonight,
y'all
girl?
Know what we come to do, honey.
Not the ice in the wine.
It's not the ice. It's the ice for me. Look, so let's go ahead and make a toast to, what we going to toast to? What y'all want to toast to? Because we always toast to love, health, and wealth. We just going to toast to being open-minded this year. Peace of mind.
Okay.
Stability.
Okay.
And we going to get in our bag, honey. We're going to do a little bit of that. These all the above. We doing it all, honey. All right, so.
Yes.
Okay. What you think?
Okay.
Is she all right?
Okay, she good.
She good? All right, see.
Nice.
Look, and the more we go, then we're going to go ahead and take us a shot, too. But I want to start off by asking a question. I know you said that you worked for 99 Jams for about 15 years.
Sure.
And then you went on to branch out and be an entrepreneur yourself.
Yep.
And how long have you been an entrepreneur?
So I quit my job September the 22nd of 2018.
Okay.
And
Do you celebrate that day?
yes, I do.
Okay.
Every year.
Okay.
Like a birthday.
Every year. It was the moment I decided to believe in myself. I think I had spent a lot of time self-doubting, being unsure if I could actually be an entrepreneur and maintain. Financial stability has always been extremely important to me. And I wasn't sure that I would be able to maintain it. I've always relied on the man for stability.
It's the man.
You know
for me.
what I mean? And so so I do celebrate it because it was the moment that I just decided to take a chance.
So what was it that actually just pushed you to be like, okay, forget it. I'm just finna like just go ahead and try it? Because like you said, I know that even for myself, because like when I was doing hair, that's what kind of made me step back from doing it. Just that financial stability. I feel like that's the main thing that really holds a lot of people back. We all have the dream. We already know what we want to do, but it's always that doubt in our mind, like, what if it don't work out? What if I fail? What if I'm not able to, take care of my bills and do what I got to do? What was it for you, the turning point for you that made you be like, you know what? I'm just going to see how it's going to work, how it's going to turn out.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think, well, I want to say this before I tell you what the turning point was for me, is that money is just energy. If I've learned nothing else being an entrepreneur, is that, and I tell my son this at 16, I wish somebody had told me this at 16, that money is just energy. And if you can generate the type of energy that gravitates money to you, then you'll never be broke.
So, one more time.
One more time.
We
gotta need
Yeah,
a pin,
we gotta pin
somebody take that up
one
pin
more
that.
Somebody out here needed that because I needed it.
Spin the block with them.
That money is energy, and that if you can generate the type of energy that gravitates money to you, then you'll never be broke, right? That pulls money to you. It literally is energetic. It is an exchange for something. And ultimately I think us believing in ourselves and the ability to be able to generate that type of space to create and produce an exchange, right? Really, a lot of it gets stopped because of our relationships with money. How we feel, how we were raised, and what we think about it, and our fear of not having it, right? But when I finally made the decision to jump, I was really like, man, I should have been done this. But I think everything happens in timing, right?
True.
So the thing that did it for me, to answer your question, was, so I grew up in a single parent household. My mom, she was a teacher in Jackson Public Schools for 33 years. My grandmother worked at a plant for 22 years before the plant shut down, and she probably would have continued to work there if it had stayed open. My grandmother was 70-something years old, push mowing the lawn in the front backyard. So this was, these were the women that were influencing my life, but I didn't have any entrepreneurs around. So I did the thing that everybody said do. You go to college, you figure out what you want to do with your life. And so here I was in my 20s, feeling like I was supposed to work for myself, but scared to do it, and so just getting one job after the other. And ultimately, when I, got into radio, and then some years later, I came back to the radio station after leaving and coming back. I started an open mic, started being around creatives and other entrepreneurs. I started the open mic because I met and connected with Tiger Rogers, and he had the idea.
Shout out to Tiger.
Yeah, shout out to Tiger. And we brought that vision to life and branded it and created this space for creatives. Honestly, for me, just because I had lost my buzz of my creativity, and so I just wanted to be around other creatives.
And it was a whole vibe. I'm sorry, I just want to amen on that. I've been there. It was a whole vibe.
Yeah.
Carry on. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. It was, and I appreciate you for saying that. It often became hard to explain to people what it was like, the experience, and then I stopped trying because I was like, you really just have to. It's something you just have to.
You got to be there. You got to be there. It's one of the ones you got to pull up.
Yeah, and it was so beautiful because for 7 years we consistently were there every single month. My mother passed away a Saturday leading into a Synergy Nights, and it still went on. I had somebody else to host it, but we just were so consistent. We showed up, and people showed up. We averaged 100 to 80 people, and people described it as therapy for them. It was an escape for a lot of people. We would have a lot of women come up, but by themselves, would just show up. It was just such a vibe, and so it was running that and being around creatives. I started working with a lot of creatives. And when just to fast forward to the part where I quit my job, I was searching for something. And of course, a lot of people know also I worked with comedian Rita Brent, and helped her to build that career.
Shout out to Rita.
And shout out to Rita. and what happened in that space was that I realized, damn, I'm good at this, right? So, but what I didn't enjoy was doing it just for one person, like the Hollywood life, you know, and I've been around my fair share of celebrities being in radio, and it just wasn't something I didn't feel fulfilled. So that's when September. So I left the radio station, started working full time at a nonprofit as a public relations specialist. Nobody told me that nonprofits are just an interesting place to work out. So that didn't last long, and then I ended up in an in-between job. My old boss, who I loved working for, this guy named Travis. Travis probably would never see this, but shout out to white guy Travis. It's my guy from New Orleans, from Louisiana. Travis is one of my old bosses. I used to work at C-Spire. He needed somebody. He was at a car dealership in the sales department. In the service department. And needed someone, and he posted it on social media. He never posts on social media. And so I was in between trying to figure out what I was going to do next, and working on the side with Rita still, and trying to figure out what was my next move. And I saw that post. I reached out to him, and he was like, "Yo, are you serious? If you are available, you are exactly who. Come.
You're hired."
So
it was definitely for you.
Yeah. He was like, "I need your energy. Come to the place.
Yeah.
It can be part-time. I'll work with your schedule." He allowed me to travel.
Yes.
In that short little time, I was working part-time in service and still traveling and doing other stuff. Stuff shifted. It got a little hectic. They moved him out of position. Car dealerships are shady. And then they put this guy in place that was a little bit of a prick. And I had been trying to explain to him the arrangement I had with Travis, that I could travel whenever. And he was like brushing me off, not wanting to have a conversation, acting that way. And one Saturday, September the 22nd, 2018, it was a Saturday. I'll never forget it. Saturday.
What a day to go out.
Go back and check
on the good old Saturday.
It was either Saturday or Friday, but I'm almost sure it was Saturday.
She enjoyed her weekend after that.
And he was walking by, and something that happened. I went to try to tell him about something that was happening with a customer. He got snappy with me for no reason. After brushing me off, not talking to me for a week or two, got snappy with me for nothing. And I went back to that little office and I said, "You know what? I don't have to do this." And he walked by and I said, "Hey, I was going to put in my 2 weeks, but I just want to let you know, this is like right before closing. I just want to let you know today's going to be my last day. I think I'm going to make today."
Hey! Immediately.
Yeah,
like
I
right
was going to do 2 weeks.
Yeah, like now.
Today I decided.
Yeah, today. I'm going to holler at you though. It's been real.
Right.
Today. It's going to happen today. It's going to happen today. But that's good to hear though. That's good to hear because like I said, a lot of people, and I know me personally, I'm speaking from personal experience. That's what made me jump back into the working world. Just you want that stability, especially once I started having children. It's like, okay, it's not just me anymore. Like if it was just me, I could, filibuster around and just kind of play. But now that I'm taking care of someone outside of myself, I wanted to, make sure that I was stable, and I can't, I'll say this and I always say this, everybody is not meant to be an entrepreneur.
No.
Some people are in a better space when they are working and when they are supervised. So I always try to put that out there, like it's nothing wrong with someone who gets up and work every day. Because I do it, It's nothing wrong with getting up every day and punching the clock. You know what I'm saying? As long as that is what's fulfilling to you or what you feel like is what's best for you. Handle your business.
Yeah, you have to know yourself.
Because a lot of people feel like, okay, I can be an entrepreneur. I can, go out and do it on my own. And it's not easy. It's definitely not for the weak. It's something you have to mentally and physically be prepared for and have to be able to weather the storm. And another thing, when you were talking about the energy, if you come out with the right energy to attract money. So I kind of feel like that kind of, in a sense, taps in with our topic. When we put ourselves in the space to be able to attract the money and the resources and the people that we need to secure the bag. The topic, I may not say it correctly, but it's basically when you feel like you have to dumb yourself down, dumbing yourself down, when you are listening, like you're making yourself less than what you really are to accommodate other people, to accommodate your job, to accommodate your relationship. So you saying that kind of made me think about the topic. Like in a lot of ways, we do dumb ourselves down. We do downplay. I don't say dumb, we downplay
Yeah.
ourselves. And I feel like that can cause you to miss out on your bag. It can cause you to miss out on, I ain't gonna say blessings, because I feel like what's for you is for you, you know. But I feel like when we do downplay ourselves, then we're not at our full potential. We're not able to receive the things that are fully and truly for us. So that is our topic tonight, y'all. We just want to know how you all feel about, have you ever been in a position where you felt like you were like downplaying yourself? Have you ever felt like you've been in a position where you downplayed yourself?
And sometimes you don't even know, you don't realize.
You don't realize after the
you're
fact.
out of that moment.
It's like, girl, now why you do this?
Right, like you know.
Why you say that?
Yeah.
Like you know.
I think that's such a loaded question. I want to be very careful about how I
In case you aren't, stop what you're doing right now and go like, follow, and subscribe Queen Peace on all social media platforms.
answer this. I'm going to be very politically correct in how I answer this. I think for me, I have enjoyed, and I want to be very clear, like I enjoy all elements of the work that I do in entertainment and working with people. I love being in the background. Sometimes really watching the magic happen in the like creating the brainstorming, the building up to the planning, and seeing a thing come to life is like my favorite thing to do.
Yes.
You know, I've done enough events to see them come from hey, we should do. Hey, yo, we should do.
Yeah.
Okay, well, how
We
did
actually
you
did.
like
Let's go. Let's
that?
make it happen.
To the pieces coming together, to seeing it like in its, full state. And, there was a time I think where I was spending more time in the background comfortably and complacently and not really standing in my own greatness. I think that people around me were recognizing it. And I remember I have a really good friend. He lives in New Orleans, and I remember I was coming back traveling through, and I had stopped with him, and we had met up for lunch, and we were talking, and he was like, "Yo, MJ," and he's known me like for a long time, and he was like, "I just couldn't understand. I was watching you minimize yourself, and I just didn't know why this was happening."
And people always see.
And it was the
And
first
you don't
time
see- you don't
I
see
didn't.
it
I was
yourself.
like,
What you mean? How?
we just like, And so I think there has, to answer your question, yes, there has been a time where I have felt like I was minimizing myself, but honestly, in the moment, it's so interesting because people go through a lot of stuff, I went through, I was grieving, I've been through a lot, but losing my mother and recently losing my grandmother, you just look at what people are going through, and sometimes exactly whatever season they're in is exactly what they need in that moment.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I would have been ready 7 years ago
Oh yeah, okay.
to walk in this entrepreneurial world if I hadn't went through the things that I went through in the last 7 years.
Yeah.
So the things that I went through in the last 4 to 5 years really put me in position to be ready for the type of life I'm in now. And so for me, it's just been about trusting whatever process and season I'm in. But yeah, I think people do minimize themselves a lot, back to the topic, in times when they shouldn't. And I think people really struggle with, well, let me get it right. Some people don't struggle at all.
Come on, tell it like it is.
Some people don't struggle at all and overestimate.
Gotcha. Look, let me pull you a little wine.
That you said that way.
In this direction.
Since you put it that way.
You should put it that way.
Yeah.
And then there are people that are very fearful about believing in themselves. And I think that minimization, we have to dig to the bottom and ask, what's the root of that? Like, what's the root of you minimizing yourself? Is it self-doubt? I'm doing this workshop next Wednesday on goal setting. I did one last week in person. Well, there's a virtual one
She
happening.
was crying so bad.
Was she really?
No. It's this guy on TikTok. That's his slogan. I was crying so bad.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
So that made me think when you was like, and I couldn't make it. I'm like, she was crying so bad.
There's a virtual version of it that's happening next Wednesday at 6:00, so you can sign up for that. Hey, the link is in my bio.
Yes.
Okay.
Make sure y'all tap in.
On Instagram, you can find me there. But and we're talking about goal setting, and there are 3 fears that pop up, right? That stop people from reaching their goals. And I talked about this last night on a live, and the fears are either fear of what other people think about you, because people are consumed with that,
Oh, we.
or the fear of failure. and unpacking what that actually looks like, right? And how that cycle was. And then there's the fear of believing in ourselves. Like we're afraid to believe in our greatness and who we are. And I think those three things keep us in a space of minimizing who we are because we worry about what somebody think. We worried about failing. We worried about, I don't believe in myself. Like, I don't believe that I deserve the thing, right?
I'm not going to say is that I feel like I don't deserve it, but I feel like sometimes I'm so scared of my potential.
No, so I want to pause there because what does that even mean?
Well, let me say this because I may be using the wrong words. Come on, because see what y'all not going to do either. It's the leaning for me.
Not the lean.
Not the lean. I guess. Well, let me just explain, like, what I'm saying. I may have used the wrong. Yeah, you know.
Let me explain.
So, I think it just scares me where things can go. This what scares me. Like, even when I'm doing small things and it kind of take off, I kind of get a sense of anxiety. Like, okay, hold on, Mickey. It wasn't supposed to, we were just supposed to do A, B. We weren't supposed to do C, D, E, F, and G. So that's more so of what kind of makes me kind of like, okay, well, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm okay. I don't have to do all that. I just be so scared of where it can actually lead. And I'm not going to say I'm scared of failing because, like I said, I've done that before, like with the doing hair. And then it was just like, okay, I can't do this no more. I got to get my coins right and all that.
But that wasn't a failure.
It wasn't a failure. Correct. That was just what I was doing at the time. That was my season, and it's all good. But I guess that's just what scares me, the fact that it could actually maybe take off. This could probably be more than what I thought. And am I ready for that?
Yeah, so I think that's the bigger question is asking, do you have one, like this is where I think it's so easy to say, I'm scared of the potential of the thing because, and I love you. Like, I love you. Thank you. I'm in your house. Thank you for inviting me and giving me one. Before I say what the damn hell I'm about to say.
Say that shit. Say it. Get me together.
But what I think that really is saying, do I have the discipline and the focus? Because it's the easier thing to say, oh, I'm not ready for success. Who says that? What does that actually mean that it might be successful, so I'm scared? Like most people are fighting for success, so that just becomes a thing to say that is the cover up for. And honestly, I was there too. Like I just said it. Like I didn't know if I would have I didn't know if I would be able to sustain and make money.
That's it.
So really, it goes back to saying, do I have the discipline? Do I have the consistency? Can I trust myself enough to keep showing up? Because at the end of the day, anybody that's doing anything successful knows it's not about reaching the mark every time and hitting every goal.
Okay.
It's just about figuring that shit out as you're moving.
Yes.
That's what every entrepreneur is out here doing. That's what big organizations are out here doing.
Facts. You were so
Apple, there's Rivulet, Crown. At any given moment, something is happening. A fire is being put out. A problem is being resolved. They're redirecting because something happened. What we see is the result of them pushing past what you talking about.
Right.
And when that stuff happens to them, they say, you know what? All right, let's do this again. Well, let's figure something else out.
Speaking of that, let's go and take a shot of this. Since you brought it on up, we're going to go and plug the shot in real quick.
Yes,
I'm going to let you let's go ahead and try a little review.
Jan said, this sounds like me too, Jamaica.
Yeah.
Okay.
And shout out to Miss Stacy Walker on Facebook for the shirt.
It's the bling and the shimmy on the shirt.
Shout out to Amelia Lloyd on Facebook
for my shirt. I got a shirt too.
Yes.
So I love it. And what's the name of their business? Do you know?
Ooh, Miss Stacy Walker's is Custom Creations, I want to say, and she's located in Byram.
Okay.
She's located in Byram.
But I did say this year I'm going to try to stop all that because I get in my head. Because, and I'm not saying this to like be cocky or nothing like that because it's when I do stuff, I do it knowing that I can do it. Like I it's not a sense of me doubting. Okay, I can't put this and this together. I know I can do that. I guess it's just the follow through for me. Like just it actually just flourishing and just doing. I guess just like it's just giving what it needs. Giving what it's supposed to give, and when it start giving, then I be like, what's up to give that?
Is it because you don't know know what's next, and you're like, I need to know what's
I
next.
think that's what it is because I don't know. It's like A, B, and C. You know, it's like it may be A and then it may be D and then it may be F, and we'll come back to C. And I'm like, no.
So you're gonna have to trade that off for entrepreneurship because there is this discomfort in the unknown. There is this discomfort in figuring it out that you're gonna have to get used to leaning into as an entrepreneur. All of them, all of us, and you're gonna have to make the decision that I'm going to trust the process, trust my skill set, trust that whatever comes up, and you have to start practicing that. Or you could just say, I'm gonna just stay where I'm at. Don't worry about it.
And I ain't saying
and I'm gonna say this too. Like I had a kid. Like I was like you. I know you know. I had one, but I had a kid, a 16-year-old. He's now 16, but. You know, so for me, that leap was a sacrifice for me. It was a risk. It was a risk, me having a kid. You know what I mean? And as a single parent, while his dad is very active and present, at the same time, it was still a concern.
It's still mama when you
know
got
what I mean?
You got the. So shout out to all the mothers, honey. We're gonna take a shot to all the mothers that, you know, being bosses and raising children and doing, you know, salute. So come on, y'all ready?
1, 2, 3.
This is good.
Ain't it though?
I taste the pecan.
Okay.
It wasn't even the little bird, like. Okay.
This is Rivulet. It's spelled Rivulet. You can go to rivulet.com. It is available for those of you that are in the Jackson area.
It's the one.
Come on over here, girl. I'll grab that off the table. It is at the liquor store. I know for sure that's right there in front of the Kroger on 55.
I still taste the pecan.
That is really.
It's smoother than I thought.
That's good. You know, because normally when you take the shot, you kind of get that little.
It burns.
Yeah, it didn't really give that.
No, it's good.
And that's by a black lady.
So it's a black-owned liquor company out of St. Louis, Missouri.
Yes, February, Black History Month.
Shout
I brought it in honor of the melanin.
Yeah.
Yes, for the melanin.
I like that. That was surprisingly good. It's giving very much kind of like pecan pie, like Thanksgiving.
Cook with it. Yeah, you cook with it.
You know what? I'm about to give you some of that and do me
You need some filet wings.
Yeah, I'm gonna do some filet wings.
Instead of Henny wings.
Some Rivulet wings.
Yeah,
I did Henny wings the other week. We gonna do some Rivulet.
Hennessy. So you did some penny wings. Hennessy tastes like pennies.
Girl, wait a minute now, Maranda.
It's some penny wings.
You know what? I'm gonna have to cook you some.
But they were good.
They were good.
Oh my goodness, they were good.
I would try the penny wings because I'm black. I like wings.
And you know what? I do not.
Say no.
I don't drink Hennessy. I can't mess with that brand.
I'm not gonna say no.
But it was really, really, really good.
So, Cindy, out of those 3 things that Maranda listed, I'm sorry. Okay, the wine, the shot kicking in, y'all. I'm fumbling my words. What is it that you think is one of yours? If you know any of them.
Oh yes, I definitely got one. Hey, Jonathan.
What's up, y'all? Everybody that's coming on in the room and speaking.
Mine would be okay, because I took that leap. Well, you know what? I'm not gonna. All right. I was forced out of my job market at first. I was working at an ophthalmologist's office. And I was let go the week I was getting ready to turn my 2-week notice in. I was let go, but I had been praying and like, Lord, I'm not happy here. I'm not fulfilled here. Like, like I want to do my art thing. I want to do that. That's where my passion is. That's what I want to do. And before I could sit down and type my 2-week notice letter, he was like, you're taking too long. Let me handle this for you. And boom, out the door I go. So then I'm like, all right, be careful what you ask for, because he gave it right on to me, and it didn't look like what I thought it was going to look like. And, he do it every time. So I was without a job for about 2 months. Luckily, thank God for savings. Thank you. Y'all need to invest and do that. Handle that.
Save your coin.
Save that coin. But in that process, it took like faith and to know, like, all right, you had a $300-400 week over here, you got a $20 week over here. But now listen, you're gonna have to let that work out. It's gonna balance out eventually if you can stay consistent, do what you gotta do. And my goal during that time was I want my business to pay for my business. I don't want to have to grab money from work to pay for business. I want my business to revolve. And when I was into it and when I was really giving it my all, that happened for me during that time. But then I got to the point where I got a job and I got lackluster on my entrepreneurship. And I got lazy, and I feel myself getting into that procrastination and that kind of laziness and not pushing forward like I would. I don't have that momentum like I did because I have that little security belt a little bit from my job. So that momentum of not having it is not pushing me now.
Gotcha.
So I'm trying to get back into that headspace, but it's kind of, I don't know, it's a lot mentally. It's real ghetto. 4 stars wouldn't recommend, but I'm trying to push it on through because entrepreneurship was never ever in my life on my radar. Like this was so far from me. Like if
So
you
what made you do it?
I don't. A turn of the century because I don't know.
We literally looked up one day and
literally
painting pictures. It was like, can I get a... She paid me like $2 for my house. My mama like, Sydney can... I've been knowing Sydney since the 6th grade.
Listen.
I didn't even know she could draw a straight line, let alone paint. And the girl come up with paint. And my mama like, Sydney paint? I'm like, yeah, Sydney painted because I never knew she could draw. I spent just about every day with this woman. Never knew she could draw. I don't know how it happened, but I'm glad it happened. Because it has been a beautiful thing. I can't say for you individually and it has, like, with our friendship and our business. Yeah. So I am glad that whatever it is that made you tap into that. And I feel like we kind of helped us kind of balance each other in a sense because we both kind of went after it and we both didn't really know what we were doing.
And at the same time, at that.
Yeah, at the same time. It was like, hey, we a team. Even though we 2 separate businesses, like we still a team. We just go, We
was hitting pop-up shops together.
It's just having an accountability partner. That there is so much value in having that out the door and in the beginning. And it's important, like who you surround yourself with, because I remember when I first started, I realized quickly how many friends that I had that weren't entrepreneurs. It was like, because you become so obsessed with like your business and what you're doing and you're talking about it so much, and then other people who have regular jobs be like, yeah, so let's talk about something else.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Right. Y'all ain't ready for
and
that.
then you realize you just become this boring person that's always talking about working.
Right, because you can't, it's like you can't relate because you're on two different frequencies.
And so then you have to compartmentalize your friends and say, okay, when I'm with this group, but then it's so important to find a group of friends that are on that same wave and frequency with you because it helps sustain you. Like you need it. So for me, I lost some friends in the beginning, and what it did was it opened up doors for other people who were in the entrepreneurial space. And it was so valuable for me to be able to, have those people and to honor them, right? To be able to utilize them and know how to lean on them and to run things by them, and for them to hit me up and be like, where you at with X, Y, and Z?
Right.
I know we talked about this before, and for me, one of my accountability partners is this guy named George. He's a business coach, George Pitts. Shout out to George Pitts. He is Mr. Monetize Everything on Facebook, Instagram. So just having that for me was, and I told George, I would tell him over and over again, like, you were life-saving for me, because in that first year was really tough for me because I didn't expect to lose friends like I did. And it really hurt my feelings. It was so interesting because that first year, I remember people would ask me, what is the hardest thing about being an entrepreneur? And in that first year when I was still like licking my wounds from that, I would get teary-eyed and be like, I just didn't expect to lose people that I lost. You know what I mean?
You don't know how many times I'd have cried off camera. It's funny you said that because we had a previous topic where we were talking about different friends serving different purposes. So to hear you say, like, you have to compartmentalize, I can't get the word right, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Your friends, and like you said, losing friends, because I know last year was my, this is 2022. Y'all, the liquor is kicking in. I can't remember. 2021 was my year of, y'all. The ripolets is letting, honey. That was my year of losing friends. And I know for me personally, and Sydney can attest, my friends are really like my family.
Yeah.
So it was more so if you feel like you basically lost like a family member.
Yeah,
you know. So I kind of agree with you, and it wasn't because of entrepreneurship, but I do feel like because I was kind of stepping out of my comfort zone and doing different things that certain people had to go. So that was another reason why we had the topic of different friends serving different purposes, you know, because some people will feel like Sydney. I know I can talk to Sydney about anything. It really don't matter, you know. She's not gonna judge me. She's like, Mika, you sound crazy, or yeah, girl, you know, I don't have to worry about that. But then I have certain friends where it's like, okay, I can't really say that to them, and it's okay. I can't tell them this business right here because they're gonna be offended, or I can tell Sydney like, nah, Sydney, that ain't right. You was wrong for that, or this is that. Do you have certain friends? It's like, you can't really just flat out be like, girl, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Because then they'll be mad.
Yeah, oh God.
They'll be upset.
Yeah.
They don't want to deal with you and, you know, stuff like that. So, yeah. That hearing you say that just made me tap back into that previous topic that we talked about.
Sure.
You know, because when you get to talking about friends and losing people, you know, within your circle, because that's your nest. That's what makes you feel comfortable. Like when I don't have Sydney alongside of me, sometimes I feel a little like, girl, you know, I'm naked. Yeah, I'm like, I need my clothes on. You know, so when you lose someone you felt like was your safe, a part of your safety net, it kind of makes you be like, damn, that's messed up. You know, so
I want to, and I want to say this because I'm glad you talked about that, and just to speak on that is I want us to normalize.
All right, Jackson, Mississippi. You want some stuffed pineapples or some loaded turkey legs? Contact Chef Lee. All the information is on the flyer.
Not blaming other people and the friends that we lose for them not being a part of our lives, because we live in this like really quick, like write-off society of where we write people off, and it's easy to project and say, oh, they can't come with me, or they're not ready, or they. And especially now, I think people are going through so much stuff that whatever they're on and wherever they are, whether it's some trifling shit they did or whether it was just they just disappeared to the night and nothing happened. So you know what I mean? They just like a ghost in the night. And you was like, but what had happened? You know, that is so important for us to understand that everything that happens in our lives is really about us. It's a lesson for us that it is the universe helping and shifting. Just like you can agree that with your job, God was like, or whoever was like, get to do what you did. That at the end of the day, when people move and shift in your life, that you just take a breath and say, okay, well, let's just see where this is going. Like, that's interesting, right? That we don't have to villainize the people that decide to leave our lives. That we don't have to make every situation that seems complicated and have an answer and know why they didn't decide to stick around. And we try to hold on to them when really the universe might be trying to get them out the way so that you can get into a place to do something on your own. That God is saying, hey, I need you to be on your own so you can build this muscle so that you can do the next thing you need to do.
That's it.
You spend too much time relying on this friendship and what you need is.
I need a word.
Right? I need to work this part of your character, of your personality. I need you to go through this thing so I can give you this thing I'm trying to give you so I can know that you can handle it. You know what I mean? So I think it's extremely important that we remember that everything that happens in this world around us, that it all goes back to us having that inner reflection of, man, what lesson is this teaching me? I might not have an answer, but let me just sit with it before I go into being responsive and reactive and going around bashing a person or writing them off every time their name comes up. I have to say a thing like, oh, well, they wasn't ready. They might have they just not here for that ride.
And they might universe might let them spin the block.
Like they might, you never know.
But at the end of the day, whether they do or don't, that ain't your business.
Exactly. We don't have to speak.
Like it ain't our business.
It is what it is.
And when they come back at the end of the day, to trust yourself enough to know where they deserve to be in your life. Right.
That's the thing.
Without any like angst or because realistically, holding grudges and passive aggressively being away towards a person because they didn't do what you wanted them to do, like, listen, that's like a form of trying to control how somebody shows up in your space. And if you don't want it, that's totally okay. Like, if you're not here for that role, I'm not going to force you to be a square peg in a circle, right? And so at the end of the day, do what you do. I'm going to be okay. We're going to move in different spaces. and trust that whatever season they were meant to be in your life, either that season is done or right now just isn't the time for whatever that connection is.
A little break.
And it doesn't have to be, because whatever energy, when you carry that energy, it only affects you at night.
Yeah.
The
other person, right? They sleeping well at night.
Honestly, and sometimes they might not be.
Right.
But at the end of the day, that ain't your business.
Yep, you can only account for yourself.
That ain't your business.
And you around here stressing and crying, like, because I didn't cry so much off camera.
Yeah.
You know, just in. It's not because, you know, like having no ill feelings or nothing like that. You know, you miss that. I think that's what it is for me. Yeah. Because I never speak ill on anybody.
But that's
like
the thing. Like, we don't know how to heal,
right?
We don't know how to heal.
That's it.
We don't know how to heal
that's a topic
without
right there.
lashing out at people.
Yes.
Right? And so we don't know. We so far away from the original topic. You're right. But
it's so no, but this is what we do. No,
right.
Let's go there.
Let's go down the rabbit hole.
Baby.
Yes.
Come on, let's go there.
But we don't know how to heal without lashing out at other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's so important for us to take time, and that shit is hard. Let me tell you. I'm gonna recommend a book to y'all if you're struggling with like identifying with feelings. This is a book that really helped me in 2019.
Type it in the comments. Put in the comments. Yes. Come on, yes. Because I mean,
not the comments.
Not the comments for me. Not the laptop.
Yes, because I need this.
But the name of the book is called The Untethered Soul. It is The Untethered Soul, and it is a book that helps you to disconnect from trying to identify with emotions. But this book helped me a whole lot a few years ago to not attach myself to every emotion I was feeling that was basically attached to a thing, a situation, a person.
I need that book.
And
Don't
for
judge
me,
my feelings.
If she just spelled tethering right, it's okay.
It's a little off, but it's okay. It's okay.
Come on, that tetherer. It's okay.
Not you coming for my spelling.
No, I can't spell a lick. I love
it.
Somebody said I heard that's a good book.
I got
I didn't say they heard it was a good
I'm
book.
dropping it in there for you.
Yes.
Correct spelling.
It's fine. You would have figured it out.
Yeah.
Google will correct you.
It's the wine.
So the thing about the book though, and the thing about healing is that, and I'm gonna tell you, I just want to be 100% transparent, because healing isn't easy and it's not always pretty.
Oh my God.
And it also doesn't require the person that hurt you, right?
Okay.
It doesn't require their approval. It doesn't require their correction in the situation. It doesn't require their apology. Healing is such a solo thing, right? It's such an intimate you and you alone thing. And I think that's the thing that prolong so many people's healing, is because they're holding it, waiting on the other person to correct what was done to them. And really, ultimately, a lot of times, more times than not, you got to heal alone. And that's what's required, because that's the work that's done. And for me, it required me to feel all these feelings that I had been suppressing. Anger, bitterness, hurt, love, but also, right? When you suppress, but this is the thing about suppressing feelings, right? That people don't really realize, is that when you suppress hurt, anger, bitterness, resentment, and some of us don't even suppress that well, but still, when you suppress it, you also are suppressing joy and happiness and peace and love. And then we're living in this false sense of what joy, happiness, peace, and love is, because we want to allow ourselves to feel the bullshit. That we feel like it's bullshit. But we have to feel it to process, because the way that our body is created is that we have to feel the thing in order for it to pass. But when we don't allow ourselves to feel it, we just holding on to it, pushing it in there, and then it's affecting our health. It's affecting our organs. It's affecting our stomach. We're having headaches. We can't sleep at night. We're having nightmares. And we try to figure out why, but it's because we want to allow ourselves to feel
down anything.
You know what I'm saying? I can't keep it down. And then we resort to drinking all the time, having sex, moving all the time, not slowing down. And what happened with COVID is everybody had to slow the hell down.
Sit down.
And it got tough, right?
Yes.
And so at the end of the day, getting in the practice of feeling those things helps you to get into the groove. It's not easy. You know, and it's just bearing it until it passes. But this is the thing to understand about it, that we're not educated on. It's because we don't trust that it's going to pass. And that's what it's designed to do, like a bowel movement. Like, for real, it's going to pass.
No matter how bad it hurts.
So
you got to get
sitting with it without reacting, without responding, without texting that joker, without sending them a message, without posting that indirect Facebook status.
indirects for me.
Not the
Not the subliminal post.
Yes, the subliminal post.
Not the subliminal post.
You know, to allow the feeling to exist within you so it can pass without any reaction. But that's for people who really want to be healed, because there are some people that want to hold on to the mess. And there's some people that live in that trauma and want to stay in that trauma. And at the end of the day, if you fight to hold on to your traumas, then as a result, you get to keep them.
And I kind of feel like what you were saying with like social media, I feel like social media kind of plays a part in it, because it kind of glorifies being toxic and being, you know, mentally unhealthy and unstable. And, you know, we don't promote enough of just physically and mentally trying to work on getting yourself together, no matter how hard it is or how many times you fall, you know. Or social media can just glorify like it's something so easy, like oh, I just wake up one day and I'm healed and I'm not hurt anymore. You know, I feel like social media plays such a big part on, like when I say everyday life, that it's sickening almost, you know, when you just look at it. Because in a way, social media is a beautiful thing. But at the same time, it can be such a devil. It could be such a burden. It could be such a hindrance. Like, oh my goodness, you have to really, like, you got to know what you're doing with social media. And speaking of knowing what you're doing with social media, that's where you come in with, go in, get that wine, pull you in the come on. You said you ain't got nothing to do since we partying tonight.
Let's go.
Party's here.
Keep the conversation
You know
going.
what I'm saying? So that's where you come in. I know you said you help entrepreneurs that are trying to be entrepreneurs and handle everything and help with those burdens and stuff like that. So what are some of the things that you bring to the table or resources that you know, can help a local entrepreneur that may be watching? Y'all tap on in to Ms. Joiner right here now.
Sure. So is the question in general about how to manage and guard themselves against that emotional side and the mindset part of social media? Or are you talking about something specific?
See, it's however you want to answer.
Okay.
Do your thing. You got the flow.
Like, you know, I like to give answers that people don't be expecting. So,
we here for it.
So if you're an entrepreneur and you're thinking about owning a business, what most people pull up to the table looking for is like these hacks, these quick tricks. Like I need followers. I need, you know, I need to gain visibility. I need my brand. You know what I'm saying? I need my bank account to look like X, Y, and Z. Whoop, whoop, whoop. But the reality about anything, but especially entrepreneurship, is that y'all better pass that wine.
Heels, not us passing the wine behind your back.
Get her done.
Let that transaction happen. All right.
Real quick, like.
Is that business, majority of the success of business is wrapped up in your mindset around how you show up in your business. Whether it's social media, whether it's your mindset about how you make money, how you price yourself, how you engage, how you set prices, how you do business, how you interact with your consumers or your customers, right? That at the end of the day, what makes people successful, and people don't want to hear this because, you know, it's so easy to think hard work matters, consistency matters, all of it. It's not just one thing, but majority of what makes people successful is the mindset. Because if it was just about discipline and consistency, then everybody would be successful. That at the end of the day, people who are consistently showing up aren't showing up maybe in the right way, or maybe they aren't trusting themselves to do whatever. Maybe they're showing up limited in the way that they're consistently showing up. Maybe they're not pushing themselves, doing, you know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it really does boil down to mindset and how you attack failure, how you attack your consistency, how do you make yourself uncomfortable for growth? Because I can consistently stay mediocre. Like I can consistently just be complacent in my business and not grow.
And I'm saying us because me too. Like here you say,
I can consistently just do enough and not
do the bare minimum and make it on by, you know. And
you know, or I can, you know what I mean. And so ultimately, mindset is a really big thing. So when it comes to social media, which is the bigger question, right? That was the exact question.
We got time today. It's Friday. We ain't doing this.
It's Friday.
Thank you for taking this ride. Right.
You know, see, we chilling.
Thank you for taking this ride with me. You know, social media is one of those things, and I feel led to say, okay? I feel led by the rivulet.
The rivulet better lead you, honey. Yeah.
when I shifted into being an entrepreneur, that social media was no longer a place for me to be social. And I think there was a hard shift that needs to happen for entrepreneurs, depending on what side of the fence you fall on, because I have a lot of my clients that will say, oh, I don't like that social media stuff. It's just too much. I don't understand it. Or they get on my nerves that people be doing the most and they feel like people can easily say what they don't want to be, right? Like it's the complaint part. Or people are still utilizing it as if it's like a social app. They're engaging on it and they don't know what to do with it, and they're still being social and they're not taking it serious in their business. That when I shifted into being an entrepreneur, social media was no longer a place for me to be social and be entertained on a regular, that it mostly became a tool for me to figure out how I can get my business in front of eyes. And as an entrepreneur, you have to understand that you have to select the downtime in which you try to be social on the app, right? So in my downtime, I socialize, don't get it twisted, but every day, checking into social media is a job. That every post I post has extreme intention, that on my page, that is no longer just about what Maranda wants to post. That this is a tool, a free tool for me to utilize to reach people for my business. And so as an entrepreneur, the thing I would start with responding to you and saying is that I think that's the first shift that needs to happen in your mind, is that you have to look at this as a tool and put all your emotions about how you feel about it on the left or right.
And I never thought about it like that.
It's not about your emotions. It's about, this is a tool. How do I use this to get in front of people? What are the things I need to do? What are the things I need to say? How do I need to show up? What conversation do I need to have with my ideal target person through my social media because they're watching? You got to blind off all the things in your head. You tell yourself, well, maybe people ain't seeing it and I don't really know what to say. And I might, what if I say, just you got to figure out, what am I saying? And how do I show up in this space? Because it's no longer just people caring about me waking up in the morning and cooking eggs and seeing me walk my dog. Now it is about how do I show up with my business consistently? And then when you get the hang of that, then you can weave all the social stuff in it. Like, you know, but first it needs to become a tool, depending on your business, right? So sometimes it's personal, where you can make it about your personal brand, and sometimes it's just about your business. But that's,
Okay.
Because I find myself even now, I'm sorry, Mika.
No, go ahead, sis.
On my social media, I find myself that my friend list and network is more so business owners than people that I would normally socialize with. I add a business entrepreneur with the quickness versus you know, just a regular social person. I think I found that shift. And me and Mika were talking not too long ago, saying that we don't even post like pictures and selfies.
Like our kids and just our normal day-to-day life.
Yeah, it's totally obsolete at this point, because if you go down our page, it's business.
It's like business has basically taken over.
Yes.
But I do want to say,
come on.
Yeah, insert.
That as a personal brand, that as entrepreneurs and solopreneurs, right? And unless we have like a brick and mortar and a stand, like if we were in a grocery store, then that would make so much sense. If you, if you were like, doing like the places it works really well, where people constantly just post their thing and it sells, it's like food, fashion, and hair, right? Gotcha. So food, fashion, and hair, people can post pictures of fashion all day. People they come for it. Hair, I need to see the product, what you do with the hair.
Yeah, right.
And you post pictures of macaroni and cheese. I'm coming. I'm pulling up. Where are we with that
macaroni and cheese? Y'all make sure y'all go on my page and check out my reels. I have a macaroni and cheese recipe on there. Check it out. You said mac and cheese. The cheese was cheesy, so y'all check that out on my page.
Them cinnamon rolls too. That was so weird.
But carry on. I'm sorry. The macaroni and cheese come up.
You know what I'm saying? Me and my son are on this no takeout kick, so that I'm gonna pull up on the page so I can revolutionize.
Come on, and look.
But I think the rotation is extremely important. That you aren't. Again, it's so important to remember that you're building a relationship with your audience. And let's break down a relationship. It is give and take. It is, if your relationship was always just her hitting you up, being like, do this, can you do this? Hey, look at this, look at what I got. Have you ever been dating somebody or on a date with somebody or have a friendship that every time they call you, they be like, they call you up and say, I know you're busy. and when you answer the phone, because
well, if you know why you call.
no, they saying that so they can tell you what they want to tell you, and then get off the phone and then without hearing anything you got to say.
Basically, yeah. Let me go throw this at you real quick.
Right.
So as a business, when you show up and are you talking to your audience about your business, you kind of like that person.
Okay.
Gosh.
That's all you talking about is your business.
Right.
As a solopreneur. Now, this doesn't apply. Nothing is like 100%, right? Some businesses, it makes sense that you show up in the business space. But the world we live in now, especially, my God, just where we are now, we're so in tune and wanting to be connected and feeling, because we just want to feel connected. But not just nosiness.
It's not nosing.
But it is a little
But
bit.
it is to a certain extent.
I don't mean to cut you off, but sometimes I feel like it's people feel entitled to know so much about
Oh, your person. Yes.
And it's like,
yes.
come on, that like,
but as a business, you decide what you give them.
True.
So how people show up and feel, like what we got to do is we got to remove our emotions about that and let it not dictate how we show up in the business.
You said that.
Like that ain't our business. How you doing that extra?
Right.
Like you on the extra, that ain't got nothing to do with
me.
At the end of the day, I got consumers that need my engagement.
Yeah.
And so we got to stop paying more attention to the people that irk us than we do to the people that need us.
Okay.
And so we let this irkiness stop us from even engaging with these jokers. That's just wasn't. I just
I'm gonna say ouch, because when I say you are stepping on my toes, like when I say I'm dead, dead serious, ouch, because you are stepping on my toes, and I need to hear this.
Clients will tell me over and over again what they don't want to look like, and when I say, well, what do you want to look like? It's crickets.
Yeah.
Hello, what you think?
So you know, you got to know something.
You have to, like, but that's a natural thing. You ask somebody about love, they tell you about heartache, right? Like, Brene Brown said, in that vulnerability talk. When you ask people about love, they tell you about heartache, and it's like we naturally just gravitate towards the hurt, the anger, the pain, the complaining, and we don't practice enough leaning into the comfort of, this is what I want my life to look like. People don't even imagine their business in its most successful state, right? People are scared to even think about it. They're scared to talk about it. You sitting up here telling me, I'm scared to say it, because what if it do the thing?
I just said that.
Well, let's talk about it. What if it do? Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be great?
Ouch is all I'm going to say. Because what you're not going to do is come in my house and step on my toes like that and drink up the wine. You're not going to do that.
Lembria said, yeah, because lately I've been lazy.
No, I haven't had her glass.
Hey, Danielle. Lembria said, yes, because lately I've been lazy, just chilling. I'm gonna turn it back up, hopefully sooner than later. I be drained, LOL.
Yeah.
Like, for real. But that burnout is a real thing, like, right? So, what I would suggest to that is really pacing yourself, right? To figure out what works for you in your schedule, but you have to give yourself that balance of figuring it out. But what you can't do is, we live in this like super grind culture without understanding the balance of what's necessary and being intuitive and listening to our bodies.
I'm grinded out.
Now you gotta go, right? You gotta be consistent. But being consistent doesn't mean like wearing yourself out. Being consistent means, hey, when I need a break, I'm gonna take a break and then I'm gonna show back up the next day. Being consistent is showing back up and getting back in that space. And if you need 2 days, and take 2 days. But what you do after those 2 days is I'm gonna get back in my space and move, right? And so I think it's so important to understand that about, especially social media, that can feel overwhelming. It can feel overwhelming because we spend so much time watching other people and trying to, because we don't really know what our direction is, we're trying to absorb everything else.
Right.
I was about to open up a whole nother a can of worms with that, but just, even as Black people, we do that. We are so detached from our culture that we're seeking from other people how to define what our culture looks like sometimes, and we're struggling to really own our own heritage because we were ripped away from it, right? So then going back to entrepreneurship, it's the same way. When you don't know the source and your why and what your business is rooted in and why you're supposed to show up every day, when you haven't identified your why or know your purpose in the work that you do, when you don't know the bigger meaning, the bigger picture of this is why I do this work I do because of XYZ, then it becomes easy to look at everybody else and to try to duplicate that, and then you get gassed out, right? one thing that I've learned in being in this field is that all the big corporations, they have like major, they have really deep missions that are missions you wouldn't even think.
Mm-hmm.
For example, let's talk about it.
Oh,
come on, let's go.
really start.
What do you think?
Yes, okay. Sorry, y'all.
She on live. She gonna call you back.
I'm sorry, y'all.
But look, make sure you're in there now. Make sure you give a little more. Give a little more.
Yeah,
Hey,
turn
Miss-
around a little bit more serious.
There you
Hey,
go.
Miss Washington.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah,
So
we forgot
Miami.
about everybody. Y'all, look. There you go. We back.
There we
We got action.
We back, y'all. We
Look,
back,
if you
y'all.
are still in here with us, y'all leave something in the comments. Leave
I
some
know,
hearts or
right?
something so we can know that y'all are still in the room, honey. Y'all come on back up in here. Jump on back in.
Come on back in the
Please,
room.
please. And Miranda, I want to say, it's her. Yes. I personally want to say, like, thank you and shout out to you for this.
Yeah.
Because I know one thing that me and Sydney normally, we talk about on a personal level, like, a lot of people are not willing to help.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh,
Like, a lot of people are not willing to share their... And of course, like, nobody is obligated to tell you anything.
No,
Or, we get that. But for the people that truly want to learn for the sake of like doing things the right way, not to pinch off of you or take from you. It's a lot of things that we just genuinely want to know. Because like how you said, with you growing up with your mom and your grandmother, they were both hardworking women, but they were not entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So that was something that you had to learn, and the fact that you learned it and you're trying to share it with other people who may have been in the same situation where they don't necessarily have any entrepreneurs or somebody to teach them those things. I feel like what you are doing is really, really good, especially now because I feel like the pandemic has pushed everybody to become an entrepreneur.
A lot of
like
people
everybody they selling something.
Yeah.
We making this.
Yeah.
We doing this.
One income ain't gonna get it no more.
Right.
For real.
Yeah.
Like for real. So I feel like what you are doing is like really like it's truly like a blessing to others, and I'm sure to you as well. Because I know if you wasn't getting nothing out of it, and I'm not talking about monetary,
Right? Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know if you weren't getting anything out of it, you wouldn't be doing it because you don't have to put the time into it.
That's the point. The very point that I was making is because I understand my why. It's easy for me to come and have conversations like this, right?
Okay.
Because I understand the bigger picture of what I feel like my purpose on this earth is to help people feel seen and feel, okay with where they are without shame so that they can grow from that place, right? I understand what my deeper rooted purpose is, and so it's easy for me to make decisions to come beyond a line like this, and say, okay, I'm just going to share nuggets because at the end of the day, it's not going to stop people from working with me. It's not going to stop the train from moving because I understand that at any given moment, I'm going to be generating energy that's going to be gravitating and producing money.
Yeah.
But getting back to the point, because we're about to make a whole huge point.
I'm sorry. I just had to say
No.
because
I want people to understand the bigger corporations, so you can understand that these big organizations have really deep rooted whys. So Chick-fil-A, in particular, you were saying
the big three.
The big three. Oh, the big three is Oh, that's right. You heard me say it.
Yes,
Okay,
come on.
Okay, cool. So we do this seminar called The Big Three. That's what she's talking about. For entrepreneurs, and Chick-fil-A's mission statement is to glorify God by having a positive influence on everybody that encounters Chick-fil-A.
How many people knew that though?
It's the anointing in the nuggets. You wanted to put a little sprinkle of Jesus in every nugget.
But here's the thing: you might not have knew the words, but when I said it, you go, I feel that.
I can feel it.
Now they close on Sunday. They let their workers go and go to church.
Get a little church.
But also in the way that they engage.
Right. You can see it in their mannerisms. Like it's a requirement for you to be held at these standards. Yes.
So that becomes their bigger mission, is to spread that love that they feel like is necessary, right? Whether you agree with it or not, you feel that, right?
Right.
And so then also in addition to that, I think about Nike too. And do you guys know Nike's mission statement?
Mm-hmm.
Most people say and think it's to just do it.
Yeah.
Campaign. But Nike's mission statement is to expand human potential. Right? So they sell shoes. So at the end of the day, it's about knowing your purpose so that you can be rooted in that, so you can know how you show up and engage. And then when you so focused on purpose, then people who doing the other stuff don't even why we pay attention to them. Like, what matters? What matters the most is getting up every day and doing that thing that you want to pour into people with the work you do. So I think purpose, which is why I wrote this book, which is what every entrepreneur should know about branding and purpose, a lot alike, is because I feel like identifying and understanding your why, like Simon Sinek, his book, which is a book that changed my world, right? Simon Sinek, Start With Why, really diving into the bigger message in that book, and the clear message in that book is that understanding your why in a business is everything.
Mm. And that's crazy because Miranda, this is just crazy, and it may be the wine, because it seems like everything that you are saying is like previous topics that we have had.
Yeah.
Because one of the topics that we have, let me find out you done watched all the shows that came in here and wrote out little notes like, yeah, I'm gonna put this right here because
like I was saying,
she got a cheat sheet, y'all. Right. But seriously, because that was one of our topics, like what is your why? And
okay. Good.
Last month we did the Jackson Music Indie Week.
Oh yeah.
And we got to interview a lot of the artists, and that was one of our questions that we asked the artists, like, what is their why? And I can say, and Sydney came up with it, because I feel like Sydney, her brain just goes deep like that. Seriously, and I like that about Sydney. That's the balance with us, like. I joke, I kiki, and all that, but I feel like Sydney brings out that deeper side of me that makes me, like, think. And that's been kind of like what I've been thinking, like, just, what is my why? Not necessarily just in my business, but just in general, like, outside of my kids. You know, because as a mother, we always say, I go hard for my kids, or I do that. Yeah. And we, I'm learning how to take myself out of that.
But that book, Untethered Soul, though.
What is that? Untethered Soul?
The Untethered Soul.
Oh, that? I'm getting it. I got to get it.
There's a part in that book about really helping us to not, because what happens, and not to hijack your conversation, but I just want to insert this little thing. The book kind of really breaks down understanding that we're more than just titles, because especially as women, we attach to so many titles, like a mom, a wife, I'm a friend, I'm a Christian, I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat, right?
Child.
And we attach those titles, but if those things didn't exist, the question becomes, what would
I be? What outside of being a mother and all that?
The reality is you wouldn't perish if you were.
As seen in this episode, you can find this book. It's available now on Amazon. Do yourself a favor, entrepreneur. Go grab this book now. You won't regret it.
You wouldn't perish if you wasn't a wife. You wouldn't perish if you wasn't attached to a religion. Okay. That's the reality, right? You still existing. So then the bigger, the cognitive thinking question goes, well, if I wouldn't perish, if I wasn't those things, what the heck?
What am I?
Who am I?
What's
left?
What else is there?
All right, I just wanted to have that little breakdown because but then what happens is, and this is why people get so antsy about religion and about, politics and all this stuff and about motherhood, is because when people wrap their identity into these things and you challenge that, it feels like you're challenging them as a person. And so then they get hostile.
Yeah, like, wait a minute, man.
All right. And I get it. Okay, all right. But go ahead.
No, you, like, what you said. Yeah. Like, seriously, like, it's just learning how to separate yourself. Yeah. Because, like I said, we take on those titles and we just wear them from, like, day to day. And we don't realize, like, I often try to go back and think of myself before I had my kids. Like, Nika, what was it that you was doing? Like, what was your train of thought? Like I guess I be trying to tap back into that.
Sure. But even that is different though, because I think about that too. Not to again, I think about that too, because the me before kids, the way my mind and my train of thought goes now, like I wouldn't even imagine developing into the train of thought that I have now.
Gotcha.
Like my train of thought now was so far away from this.
Of course. It's definitely different.
Before I had kids, like it was, oh my goodness, it's like a day and night difference.
Yeah.
Like
it's definitely different. I guess I just want to tap back into it. It's like
the
you're just
freedom,
trying to,
like that not so much of freedom, but freedom.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And I'll say freedom of my mind. It's not the physical freedom of just
Yeah.
going and,
Right, yeah,
and
not
doing
that
this or whatever.
freedom. Yeah, not that freedom.
Like people misconstrue, like, oh, you got kids, you can't go nowhere, you can't
not
do
that
nothing.
freedom.
This
Yeah.
is
It's
that
a different type of
serious,
freedom.
you know, it's just that mental freedom
Yeah.
of trying to take care of myself outside of my
Yeah.
And that's why you hear a lot of people saying they lost themselves when they became a mom or a wife.
Because it's
they get so wrapped up in
Yeah, it is. You get
It's
so
very easy.
because it's
Especially
a
when
never
you mix
ending.
the two. And then add entrepreneurship in there is
Yeah.
very.
I think that's been my thing, trying
Very easy.
to balance me, myself, me trying to put my kids first, me trying to work a job, be an entrepreneur. You know, it's just that balance, child. It's ghetto. It is very much ghetto. But I can say that is something that I am going to try my best to work on this year. Because I just want to just free my mind and just take some of those burdens off of myself so that I can fully tap into my potential. Because I do feel like that's what stops me. That's what makes me dumb myself down, because I'm just so wrapped up in everything else. It's like I can see it. I know, like, Nikki, you can do this, you can do that, it's so many things that I can do, but because I'm so distracted by other things, I'm spread out so thin that I don't know which way to go. I don't know if I want to cook. I don't know if I want to do hair. I don't know if I want to make roller trays. I don't know if I just want to be a mama. If I just want to work a job, or, you know, it's that just trying to figure out, like, Mika, what do you want to do outside of, like you said, all of those titles?
Yeah.
Mika, like, what's up? What you gonna do, girl?
Yeah. You got to ground yourself in a deeper purpose, and that's where the why comes in. You know.
Child, hopefully I have an answer by the end of the year.
You know, typically what I found out after meeting with so many people, that most of the time people's why is connected to either something that they were intimately connected to as a younger version of themselves. And so most of my clients are either trying to give somebody something in abundance that they had in abundance as a child, or they're trying to give somebody something in abundance that they were lacking. And so it's usually damn near every time with my clients, we've been able to discover that it's one of those two things. And so really getting back to that moment, in tracing back to a step that I asked my clients, you know, like going back to an oldest childhood memory or a moment, really kind of in those spaces, I'm able to a lot of times unpack that. My first session with my clients, a lot of them say it feels like therapy.
Because I was just gonna ask, do you do like spiritual healing and stuff like that? Because
I don't call it that.
like, gosh, and I feel you. No, because like we're talking to you, we talked to Fumi.
Yeah, last week.
I don't know if you know Fumi Franklin. And they were just talking about like spiritual healing and stuff like that. And I know everybody puts their own little title, you know, on whatever. Like you said, you don't call it that. So I was just like hearing you. It just sounds for me, you know, because Fumi was talking about that, like just tapping into those things and stuff like that.
Well, it sounds to me because everything is connected. True. Right. So not necessarily that I have to call myself a spiritual healer or do what Fumi does, but in the same lane, the work that you do in this world is connected to your spirituality. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's all connected, right?
Okay.
So you can't negate one. Like we can't compartmentalize like we're all connected.
Right.
Like realistically, we're all connected.
I guess it's just so crazy because for y'all to hit back to back, like,
okay,
that's the thing. Right? So let me say it like that.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we've had so many different, and all of our guests have been amazing, but it's just so crazy, like, for y'all to hit back to back like this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then for you to tap into some of the, like, older topics and stuff, it's just crazy. And it might be why.
But you know what I'm saying? But then we get into the space of relaxing and what's happening with the universe and just accepting it instead of calling it crazy. Because they just say, man, that's interesting.
And you know, that's something I need to talk about. I always be like, that's just crazy.
We were just talking about
this.
this.
That's just crazy. But no,
because what we do in that is we rehearse the disbelief that things can just work out like they're supposed to work out. Because that's what happened. Because you're like, man, that's crazy. That was like a fluke. As opposed to, hey, the universe is doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing.
Because you know, you because you were supposed to be here a while ago.
Last week, I went to Dallas.
And here it is, we had her last week.
I went to a whole sacral ceremony thing. We talking about the sacral chakra.
Okay,
AKA the vagina, okay?
It's the vagina for me. Not the vagina. Do y'all remember? I don't know if y'all ever heard of this woman. She used to preach vagina power. Do y'all remember that lady?
I know what you're talking about.
I think I know what you're talking
That
about.
woman was crazy. So you said like the vagina, but she talked about vagina
And she used to kind
power.
of say it with a
Yes.
yeah.
I mean,
And I'm gonna say this, and this is so totally off topic, and it may be inappropriate, but we all grown and we drinking. Somebody was talking about manifesting while orgasming.
Wow. I've never heard of this.
Never heard of
it's a
this.
thing.
Oh my God.
It's a thing.
When I saw that, I was like, I know it's so left field, but
I don't think this live is ready for that conversation.
okay, we gonna talk about that off camera, cause I guess it's like
Y'all
no.
don't miss that when I'm
Yeah,
we gonna get a Patreon where we can do those.
Yeah, cause we be trying to.
I have thoughts, but I don't think
We
we're
gonna
ready
talk
for
about it
that.
off camera, cause
Yeah, y'all don't miss that.
Look,
Sorry,
y'all. So
sorry.
on that note, we gonna go wrap this thing on up.
Not to wrap it on up.
That's all. We done win.
I just like to say for the court, for the record, for the jury sitting over here to the left and the right,
Yes.
that I plan to leave this earth with as few orgasms in my body as possible.
Yes.
Okay,
Come
all
on,
right.
leave it up. I want to leave it on E.
Yes.
I plan to get rid of them all.
Nothing left to give.
Whether I get rid of them alone or with somebody.
Long as they escape my body.
Empty.
Yeah. We want to thank y'all for tuning in
thank
to
y'all.
Queen. Peace, y'all. Shout out to Maranda Joiner
Yes,
for
for
tapping
those
in.
gems.
Yes, no, thank you for coming on. Like everything that you said was just truly touching. Like I can say, just being amongst.
Yeah.
Like
You can literally you can feel the energy.
Like
Yes.
seriously, you can feel
For
it.
real.
That's just so crazy. And
Really.
it may be the sweet water.
Listen.
It ain't the sweet water.
It's
Or the
sweet-
roulette.
It's the sweet vagina.
It's the vajayjay. It's the sweet vajayjay. It's the vagina power that Miranda. This is the first woman to come on here with vagina power. Y'all, it's the way.
Yeah,
Seriously. Y'all, look.
Hit the end button. Good night.
Y'all, thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all make sure y'all go follow Miranda on Instagram.
Yes.
She is on Facebook.
Go
Y'all
get her
make
book,
sure y'all
y'all.
tap in Wednesday for a seminar that she is having.
Yes.
That is via social media, so you can tap in.
It's not.
I thought you said social media.
So it's not live. So it is a virtual. Let me explain.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So that's okay. So it is a goal setting workshop that I'm doing. And if you are a person that is struggling to crush your goals, if you look up all the time and you're like, if you do a vision board, next thing you know, it ends up under your bed or in your closet, and you're hoping, and you're walking around with your goals in your head, and you're like hoping that they come to pass. If you really want to get to a space to where you're crushing your goals, then we're going to talk about how to get yourself in a position on a regular basis, a blueprint for what you need to do every day, routines, and then the blueprint for what you need to do to crush those goals. It is a goal setting workshop that is happening next Wednesday at 6 o'clock. It is a virtual event, but it is a paid event. And you can get to it by following me on social media, whether it's Facebook or Instagram. The link is either on my timeline on Facebook or it's in my bio on Instagram. And yeah, so that's what that is. So
Yes.
You can search it on Eventbrite.
Yes,
Oh,
and
yeah.
make sure y'all purchase the book. A lot like y'all. We didn't even talk about the book. It was just so crazy, y'all. But this has truly been an amazing night. Once again, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for what you are doing for other entrepreneurs. Like that, seriously. Like it's such a blessing to even be in the midst of this. You know what I'm saying? Like the rub shoulders. You know what I'm saying? So y'all, make sure y'all tune in with us every Friday at 7:30. If you all would like to come on the show, make sure y'all inbox me or Sydney. Y'all have any ideas, any questions. Y'all, please tap in Queen's Peace. We going up 2022. We love y'all. And y'all keep everything royal, honey.
Yes.
We got